Oh boy, so you might have saw this coming because we already made this kind of video talking about Thomas Tatar, so I don't think it's the most unexpected thing in the world that we're also making this kind of video about Philippe Deneau. If you saw the Tatar video, you're going to know exactly the direction this video is going to head down in terms of its conversation, because I wanted to talk a little bit about Philippe Deneau, what he has been to the Habs, what he was throughout his career, what the contract situation is going down like, and what his future may hold. Thank you to those in the Tatar video who commented Tatar, like, you know, the Tatar guy. If you want a chance to be featured in the next Habs video, then hey, stick around to the end of this one. But today we're talking about Philippe Deneau, one of the most important players on the entire Montreal Canadiens roster, and one of the forces that allowed them to actually make the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, when you take a look at things on paper, it might not seem that way. What the hell? Lyco's talking so positively about a guy who only had 4 points in 22 games as a center playing, what, first-line minutes? How the heck are you gonna go out there and say that this guy was important in your playoff run? And if you're saying that, then I'm sorry, but you just don't know what Philippe Deneau is about, man. Philippe Deneau is not really the guy that's brought in here to produce a whole bunch of points or to get on the board and score a whole bunch of power play goals. Philippe Deneau's role on the team has been pretty simple. Shut down opposing teams' top players. And for the most part, he did that. Against Toronto, Matthews and Marner had a really difficult time. Against Winnipeg, hey, no more Scheifele, guess who else is there? Blake Wheeler, Kyle Connor, Ehlers was kind of unstoppable in that series, I think, but other than that, there were so many players throughout those two series that Philippe Deneau ended up stopping. It became even more evident in the third round, where Mark Stone was completely held off the board because guess who? Philippe Deneau was out there going at him and shutting him down. Now, in the finals, it's a lot more difficult to do that because it's not just Point or Stamkos or Kucherov, it's all the depth. It's Palat, it's Killorn, it's Yanni Gourde, it's Blake Coleman. They were all fantastic, and eventually the Habs lost. But Philippe Deneau ended off this season with 4 points in 22 games in the postseason and 24 points in 53 games played in the regular season as a 28-year-old 6'1", 201-pound center, signed to a 3-year contract with an AAV of $3.083333 million. Now, on the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop... Okay, no, we're not going to do that right here. On the surface, a $3.0833-something million contract is fine for a guy who was producing as much as Deneau was. That contract was signed with Montreal earlier in his career, where he was consistently getting about 40 points a season, spanned out to 82 games. Was a really big development in his overall player profile, because the previous few seasons had seen Philippe Deneau just be up and down between the Rockford Ice Hogs and the Chicago Blackhawks. This is because Deneau was taken as a first-round talent back in 2011 by Chicago, when he was an absolute monster for the Victoriaville Tigres in the QMJHL. But his time in the AHL and the Blackhawks wasn't really all too consistent. He would be up and down, as you can see in 2014-15, pretty good with the Rockford Ice Hogs, not the best, but still doing really well. In 2015-16, though, this is when he finally got a chance, quote-unquote, to play full-time. He had 30 games played with the Blackhawks, only had 5 points, and his AHL run in 2015-16 wasn't all too impressive either. It's why he was eventually sent over to the Montreal Canadiens on February 27th, 2016, in a trade which saw a whole bunch of really interesting assets get moved around. Yeah, it was Deneau coming back and a second-round pick in exchange for Dale Weiss, of all people, and Thomas Fleischmann. So there you go, Dutch Gretzky making a fantastic contribution to the Habs in acquiring Philippe Deneau. And in fact, guess who that second-round pick turned out to be? Alexander Romanov in the 2018 draft, so fantastic right there. Despite that, though, Philippe Deneau didn't really have a fantastic debut with the Habs in the limited time he spent after being traded over here. He had himself a lot of games, 21 games to be exact. He only had 5 points, but in 2016-17, he started doing some pretty good work. He put up 40 points in 80 games that season, and the next year he had 25 points in 52 games. He was scoring goals, he was being a shutdown guy, he was establishing himself as a top center on the Habs, but really just a guy who was a top center on the Habs. Not a top center in the league, but just for what Montreal was. Their lack of center depth and their forward composition in general kind of put Deneau in a spot where he was forced to be a guy that was getting a boatload of ice time. It's why he started to break out around this time, and in the offseason of 2018, the Montreal Canadiens signed him to that 3-year, 3-point-something AAV contract, which expired this summer. Now Phillip Danault is in a spot where he produced 24 points in 53 games. He came off a season where he had 47 points in 71 games, and he had 53 points in 81 games the previous season before that. However, when it comes to Phillip Danault, this is not the kind of guy that you're going to go out there and pay a whole bunch of money because he's going to score you a whole bunch of points. It's because he's shutting down opposition. How much is that worth? Well, let's talk about it a little bit. Here's an update from NHL's TSN Insider Trading segment. This is the video on TSN's website. You can go ahead and listen to this on your own time, but we had ourselves some Twitter updates from people talking about what Pierre LeBrun said on the Insider Trading segment, and the reason we're going to go off of this is because it's easier to screenshot, put it on the screen for you to read along with what we're saying here. This is what Pierre LeBrun said on that Insider Trading show. Montreal made Phillip Danault an offer last offseason that was 6 years at $5 million a season, but the offer was rejected. LeBrun's sense at this time is that the Habs are not planning a new offer. Instead, they'll let him go to free agency, but keep the door open after he's heard from other teams. It's a fluid situation. And you know, I remember when the contract negotiation, the contract offerings were made public back in the offseason of last year. We had Brendan Gallagher sign his 6.5 AAV extension, and Habs fans loved every single penny of it. Not because Brendan Gallagher is Connor McDavid or whatever, but because Brendan Gallagher brings some of these similar qualities that Phillip Danault does. Two-way responsibility, defensive responsibility, and a knack for making things so much more difficult for the opponent. Now, Gallagher does it with heart and soul, an unobtainable desire to keep on going and to never quit. Phillip Danault does it with his two-way responsibility and his defensive prowess. However, Phillip Danault, as we noted, is indeed not really the guy to put up a whole bunch of points. Brendan Gallagher, on the other hand, is a 30-goal scorer. So, for Phillip Danault to go out here and be in a position where he rejected a 6-year, $5 million AAV contract, it really gets me thinking, man, if he doesn't want that, and he had that premonition a year ago, what in the world is this guy's ass going to be nowadays? Because he's coming off of a finals performance where, sure, he only had 4 points in 20 games, but he was a very big part as to why they even got that far. Are you gonna raise the price tag on yourself because you were a prime contributor to a team that shut down Mark Stone? What's the price for a guy who's able to do all that? Is it more at $5 million per 6 years? Is it more than $30 million in a contract? And so for Phillip Danault, going out there in the free agency market, I'm just going to tell it right here, man, good luck. I don't know if there are going to be any other teams that are willing to shell out big bucks, so much more than what the Montreal Canadiens offered in the past, to a guy who, as we said, he's so good defensively, but he's a center playing first-line minutes who didn't score and was still able to go out there and do what he needed to do. This is why we said earlier on that the Montreal Canadiens system for the 2021 playoffs is kind of changing the entire way we view hockey teams and the way you need to build a hockey team. You can build a stacked hockey team with guys who score points like there's no end, like Tampa Bay, or you can devise a system, a structured system at that, of players who aren't really fantastic independently, but who work so well in cohesion under a system that is so well coached like the one that Dominique Ducharme had, which is why they went to the finals. Phillip Danault didn't go to the finals because he's better than Auston Matthews or because he's better than Scheifele or McDavid or Tavares or whoever. He went to the finals because of the system they played. And now, it's up to other NHL teams to ask themselves, is this the kind of guy worth more than $5 million by 6 years? And if he is not, and he doesn't want to sign anywhere else, hey, the Montreal Canadiens, it looks like they're going to circle back and be like, okay, yeah, see, I told you, you're not going to get that much money here, bud. So for Montreal, it's honestly pretty interesting because we know how valuable Danault is. We know that he probably would be a guy that we want to stick around on this squad. It's not like Tatar where it was like, wow, we literally didn't need him in the playoffs. For Phillip Danault, it's like, yeah, this team's a lot better with Danault. It's just, if he really wants to get that paycheck, he's going to have to get it somewhere else because Montreal's not going to go out there and shell out all that money for him. We know Shea Weber might not play next year, but that's no excuse to go out there and start giving out big bucks to guys like Phillip Danault. So if other NHL teams want to do it, be my guest, but Montreal may leave the door open and circle back. If you made it to the end of this video, then comment in the comment section below Silk Sonic because yes, the Montreal Canadiens are going to leave the door open. on the Philippe Deneau sweepstakes, and I'm so happy that I was able to say that. Talk to me in the comments what you think about this entire Philippe Deneau situation, the story of Deneau, what his price is, and the process of his negotiations, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.